Hi folks, welcome back. In the previous video, we have installed the cloud service mesh in GKE, and then we have explored the different types of how we can basically install the cloud service mesh in different way in GKE. The one is at the fleet level itself, and another one is per cluster. So now that we have already installed the cloud service mesh, let's try to learn how to set up the gateway, and then we'll create a small Nginx application, and let's try to expose it via virtual service and eventually via gateway. So let's go to the documentation. So if you come down to the documentation, you have something called as this is the cloud service mesh documentation which I was showing in the previous session. So if you come down little bit, you have something called operate and maintain. So here you have instructions to set up the gateways. So in the previous video, we have already set up the service mesh, and we have the Kubernetes cluster and then the service mesh which is up and running. So let's if you want, you can always go back and grab the command and check whether the service mesh is properly installed or not. So if you go to that document, here itself you can see this command gcloud container fleet mesh describe. This will show you whether the service mesh is properly installed or not. So you can go back and check this. Yep. So ASM, it's like both, the control plane is active, data plane is active. So it's good. Now let's go back to the documentation and go to the operation and maintain, and here install and upgrade gateway section. So if you come down a bit, uh, so what it is asking is first create a particular namespace. So you can edit and give whatever the name you want. I have already given the name as like ASM Ingress. It's up to individuals. Whatever the name you want, you can always go back and choose that. So I would be creating a namespace. The namespace name is ASM Ingress. Now if you see, the namespace is created. Now what we will do, we will see what is the label it is getting. So by default, it is getting the Kubernetes metadata label. So now in the next step, uh, as a part of the gateway implementation, we will give the Istio injection. So once the Istio injection is done, you will see that corresponding labels here. Now, if you see the same command, you will see that Istio injection is enabled for this particular namespace. So if you come down, you have a sample, gateway configuration, which is again, it's available in the Google GitHub repository. If you open that link, let me go back and clone this entire repository. Yes, now it's cloned to my local. If you go inside the samples, you have the typical gateway installation steps. So if you go to Istio Ingress Gateway, so you have all the definitions, the service, the corresponding role binding, the PDBs, deployment, everything is present here. So let's go back. And this is my base directory. So now that we have created a new namespace and we have injected it, the Istio injection, and then now let's try to set up the ingress gateway. So now if you go here, so it will go inside a samples and gateway directory, and it will deploy all the required deployments for the gateway setup. Okay, now if you go and check what and all it is installed, you would be seeing, oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. So it has installed Istio gateway deployment and the corresponding service. It's creating an external load balancer that is taking a couple of seconds. So you can wait. All right, now we have the external load balancer IP. So let's go back, one step and see what and all it is creating. If you go to samples directory and gateway, Istio ingress gateway. So let's see how it looks. It's a typical deployment which is using a special kind of an image auto that automatically take care of this gateway upgrade and all. You need not to worry. That's the beauty of Istio. And then if you see the auto scaling, automatically the gateway parts will be scaled with the help of an HPA. That's the definition. And then you have PDB that ensures that the minimum number of pod will be always available during the upgrade. That means always your gateway will be up and running. So the roles which are required for setting up this, that is also present here. And then you have your service definition. If you see, we are creating here the type load balancer service. So since I'm not creating any certificates as such and then integrating it with gateway, so I would be demonstrating it without certificate. I'm planning a separate session to demonstrate the entire process of gateway and then the certificate integration. I would be leveraging the Google Certificate Manager only for that in the upcoming session. So I'm going step by step, each step, the each implementation methods in detail, and then one final session where everything how we can integrate in together, that also I would be demonstrating. So that's about the deployment YAMLs. So now that we have set up everything, now what I will do, I have a sample application created here. Oh, I think it's in my home directory. It's just a typical Nginx deployment. The app name is my app. So what I will do, I will put it inside a new namespace called test. So let's put the service as well inside a new namespace, test. There you go. Now what I have to do, I have to create a new namespace called test. So if you see now the namespace is created. Once again, we will see what are all the labels it is getting. So by default, it's just a Kubernetes label. Now here is the very important steps one has to remember here is in order to get these services exposed, any of the application services exposed, you need to enable this Istio injection without fail. If you fail to do this, you would be getting a common error which is like no upstream error and all. So that is the reason why it is always you need to remember that you need to enable this Istio injection. So what I will do, I think just now we have done this here. Let's try to reuse that. There you go. I'll remove all these things. It's just a revision. So I'm just labeling the namespace test with the Istio injection. Okay. Now if I see the labels for my test pod, you will see that injection is enabled. That means any number of deployments, any number of pods, stateful set, whatever you create, that will automatically inherit this injection that is applied at the namespace level. So now I have a sample. I mean, I just now showed you. Let me give overview of once again. So it's just a typical Nginx container setup, which I exposed it to port 80, and then the same pod, I'm exposing it as a service with which is an HTTP service, not the HTTPS, with the same port 80 itself. So let's quickly deploy this. So this is just setting up a sample my app pod and the service. and then let's test it. All right, so it has created a pod, and then a service. You would be, wondering why there are two containers here because I have just maintained one. Okay, let's see that how this injection works. Now, if I open this pod, there you go. You will see all the information about this. I was mentioning in my previous video that when you install a managed cloud service mesh, what you will be getting is the mesh CA feature automatically. You will not be able to use any other certificate, custom certificate methods and all. So since it is automatically using the mesh CA, all the stuffs related to that will be automatically getting by the Istio injection. So if you see here, how it is exposed via the traffic directors, the mechanism and everything you can see here. It has a Google CA and all those details one by one you can see. So this is your Istio proxy. This is the test image. That is the reason why you are seeing that one more container. That is another. This is a typical service mesh behavior. So if you watched my previous videos when I explained the architecture of service mesh and then specifically in the Istio, how it works is it's just set up a proxy and that proxy sits on each and every pod or container as a container, and then it takes care of all the traffic management, the security, all those overheads will be maintained by this proxy. That's about this particular container. So now let's go back and install a gateway. So this is the definition of gateway. So if you go to that repository here, you have, if you go to this online boutique example, you will see the gateway definition as well. Sorry, this is the one. So I just took this definition and I customized according to my requirement. Because here it is exposing inside a different namespace and the gateway name is different and all. I just change the gateway name and the namespace name. That's all. So let me go back. So this is my gateway. And what I will do, I will be putting it inside a namespace called test itself. So if you see here, this is the crucial thing. This is how it's referring to your gateway deployments, whatever you have done. This is that selector. You would be wondering where I can see this. So if you go to the service definition, there you go. You have this selector, Istio ingress gateway. So this is what it is referencing. So since I have put it inside a test namespace, now let me try to deploy this gateway. Now let's check. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Oh, yeah, my bad. Okay, now it's created. There you go. You have my uh, gateway setup now. Now, in order to use this, service leveraged via gateway, we have to create something called as a virtual service. That's how the typical Istio stack comes up to expose the applications, via virtual service and then eventually via your gateway that is tightly coupled with your load balancer. So what I'm doing is, I mean, if in case if I was using any certificates, I would have what I would have done is I would have exposed it to a particular DNS name, your load balancer, I mean, I've added those entries as NS record in the against a particular, say for example, app.test.com. Test.com would be my domain, and then app would be my ANS, a particular record set here. So this application I would be exposing it as app.test.com and all. But in this case, since I'm not using any particular DNS, I have allowed all the hosts. It is highly discouraged for the production. You should always expose it to a particular application, and then you should add that entry here. So if you see here, in this case, it's a my gateway, which is currently referencing the default namespace. Now let's give the namespace, which is under the test. So now it will be referencing under the test namespace, the gateway. Also, this virtual service, let's give the namespace name and then deploy this. So now what it will do, it will expose your application, which is basically this my app, with this gateway. All right, let's deploy this. Okay, now let's check the virtual service definition. Okay, good. It's exposed, currently. Now what we have to do is grab the service of your ingress, ASM ingress, which is basically this is the load balancer IP. So now what I will do, I'll go to browser and then I'll give this. Since I've not done any HTTPS, I will be going with HTTP. This will take some time. Meanwhile, what you can do is you can go here and do curl. Ah, there you go. It's working here. That means it should work here as well. There you go. How simple it is, So now, suppose you are using the same virtual service and expose multiple applications. Say, for example, you have a cart page, you have a payment page and all. Then all you need to do is give that corresponding page like cart slash slash cart slash payment slash home, something like that. Don't worry about that. I will be giving a demonstration with one complete microservice end to end by using the backend and all in the upcoming session when I give the end to end setup demo. So let's go step by step. Now that in the previous video we have installed service managed service mesh inside a GKE, and the next step is like how to install a gateway and expose a simple microservice via gateway. Of course, this is just setup of the Istio gateway with virtual service without certificates and all. About certificates, I know all those things and all we'll learn in the upcoming session. So thank you, folks. I hope you're enjoying the videos. Any kind of a feedback and all, please feel free to provide me. That is how we can learn, and we'll try to share the knowledge with others. Thank you so much, folks. See you in the next video.